With good weather coming this weekend, it's time to gas up the boat, ice down the cooler, and grab your favorite girl. Tonight, it's all about ladies fishing. So listen up, because it's time for the Texas Insider Fishing Report, which starts right now.
Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. Presented by Yamaha.
Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. We're bringing you a special show this week showcasing all of the ladies in the place with style and grace. And you know, Rick, the ladies have really made their mark in the fishing industry, and some of the most passionate anglers I have met are women.
Absolutely. You know, the thing I love about fishing with women, Brie, is that you guys are you listen.
Yes.
You don't let your testosterone get in the way, and that you're not macho and that you're going to catch everything. I love that about women, because that's one of the reasons why I think you guys catch more fish and bigger fish at times.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited to learn to hear what the guys have to talk about tonight.
Me too. All right, well, let's head to the workbench to check in with Dave Farrell. Dave, what have you been up to lately?
Well, you know, I just got back from the Skeeter Owners Tournament up at Lake Fork. They had like 1,400 people there, and they were all trying to win a Skeeter boat and a cool ATV. You know, it's got a really cool tournament format there with cash prizes going to the top 10 anglers every hour. They weigh in fish that are under 16 inches or under slot, or a 24-inch over slot, because the lake has that slot limit in there, and you can't bring in one in the middle because the Texas guys are there. There's a junior angler, Mason Milholland. He had a 9.55.
Woo.
Brandon Mims there with an 8.32, and then Jaden Potter, he got a nice 7.72 bass. You know, those guys were really catching the big ones, those little fellas too. You know, they could have actually there's all of them right there, up there on the podium, all the junior winners.
Were you stoked, Dave?
Yeah, the overall slot guy was Kerry Halter, and the overall winner for the underslot was Sam Bounds. So those guys really came away with a big payday.
Did you have fun? Sounds like you had a blast.
Oh yeah, it was a little warm up there in Texas in the tent, you know, but we had a good time.
It's warm, it's summertime. All right, first up, we're starting with our Upper Fresh region, where the ladies have made and are making their mark. So let's talk with Mike McFarland about the who's who. Go for it, Mike.
Hey guys, good to be here as always. Yes, ladies in bass fishing, man, we have been so blessed and extremely fortunate in Northeast Texas Upper Region, right here at Fork, to have two of the very best professional women bass anglers really living right here at the world-famous Lake Fork. Barbara Stevenson, wife to the Hall of Famer Mark Stevenson, and Miss Kathy Majors. These two are just, they made history in their day. Over the years, there's really been only a few lady bass anglers in the business. However, with the collegiate bass fishing becoming so big and so popular, we're really beginning to see a lot of new angler faces. We currently have been blessed once again right here in the Lake Fork area with one of the newest and greatest additions to the Lake Fork bass fishing community, Miss Brooke Maurer. We call her Bass Lady Brooke. Brooke has absolutely dominated at catching the giant bass here at Lake Fork over the last several months. She has single-handedly outfished just about everyone, including most of the full-time guides. Since April, she has actually caught 15 bass over 9 pounds with 2 double-digit giants. She's an extremely intelligent young lady, a Texas A&M graduate with a degree in animal science. You know, Brooke is an asset to us here at Lake Fork, and we're really so blessed and glad to have her here. I really look forward to seeing her fishing career grow, watch her shine, and witness her dreams come true. Here's a few pics, or a couple pics anyways, of her biggest fish from the season.
Nice.
I want to fish with Brooke.
All right. Tell us about the largemouth bass, bub.
Largemouth bass, Lake Fork level 39727. Water temperature is 80 to 86. Clarity is really good, 1 to 2 foot visibility. The offshore bite on Lake Fork continues to be great, but the brim spawn has really pulled a lot of the fish back into the shallow water. When the bass spawn, the brim really give the bass a hard time attempting to raid the bass and eat the eggs. Well, believe it or not, when the big post-spawn bass get a chance, they come back, and it's the brim's turn for bass to really have that spawning revenge. Jigs, big worms, topwaters, spinnerbaits, chatterbaits, they're all great lures. Use your GARMIN side scan and live scoping capabilities to find the active brim beds, and it's game on. For the jigs, I really find the best colors are going to be pumpkin, chartreuse, anything, green, any brim colored combinations. Use a 3-inch paddle tail or crawfish type trailer. For worms, I'm using versions of plum, plum apple, and green pumpkin, again with the dip tail. Using popping style top waters, spinnerbaits and chatterbaits, and of course, because we're fishing the brim spawn, you gotta have those brim colored combinations. Man, Lake Fork's really dangerous. I ask that you pay attention, run the buoy lanes only, be really careful, and idle everywhere else when you're here. How about Tawakoni bass? Tawakoni bass is real good as well. Fish are shallow, frogs and buzzbaits early, lily pads in the shallow brush. Later on, go to your plastics and crankbaits on the docks and the rocks. Athens, with guide Jay Bonner, it's pretty much the same as it's been. A little warmer water temperatures, frogs and underspins in the morning, Texas rigs, sea rigs on the outside grass lines. The lake's starting to get a lot of wake boat traffic, so I recommend you stay away on the weekends. Let's move on to some crappie fishing. Jackie Wiggins, he says that the Lake Fork crappie are definitely starting to get in their summer patterns. The black crappie are loading up on laydowns, brush and ledges in 13 to 23 feet, very thick. Minnows are your best baits. Some hand-tied jigs will also pull a few of them. And the white crappie now, those are done spawning. They're definitely moving into the trees. The thicker trees for summer, kind of like your bodarks, at 18 to 28 feet is where you'll find those. And again, minnows, your best bet. Here's a great pick with Jackie and some happy young men.
All right, 30 seconds on the white bass, bub.
Let's do the white bass. Hybrids and stripers are biting early daybreak, live bait, humps and points, 20 to 30 feet. They're also schooling mixed in with sand bass from Sun to Tall Man Point under the birds. So slabs, small swim baits, go out there and catch you some good limits of them fish. They're fun to catch.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the upper fresh region. Mike says that we're going to go ahead and do bass fishing in the upper region. Is hot just about anywhere that you want to go. You'll find topwater bite early in the morning hours, the great jigs. Bite is really on fire. Topwater poppers and brim colors and shallow points, a jig and green pumpkin colors and big worms and plum apple and targeted depth in 12 to 18 feet of water.
All right, now we're heading into the GARMIN Middle Coast region with Captain Bink Grimes, who's ready to give some tips if you've got a new lady angler on your hands. Let's hear him, Bink.
I really enjoy ladies on my boat. They listen, they learn, they fish hard. One of the joys of my life is to take my wife and daughter fishing and watch their rods bend. It doesn't happen that often. I don't get that many days off, but man, it's just one of the fun things we like to do. When the ladies, it's all about action. Give them something to catch early and often, and they're happy. We have ladies-only tournaments in Matagorda called the Lingerie on the Bay. Man, it brings a lot of women on a weekend in September, and then the Mermaid Offshore Tournament is another one. And half the fun is just watching all the matching outfits, the purples and the pinks and the lime greens. That's half the fun, with them getting ready for it. So we really enjoy our ladies fishing. Lately, the best way to beat the heat has been wading sand and grass shorelines in West Matagorda Bay. We've caught scattered trout on top waters and soft plastic. In Port O'Connor, that topwater bite's been good, but again, live bait's been the best bet lately. Waders working areas around Pasco Valle had best tidal flow. Sand and grass flats around San Antonio and Espiritu Santo have been holding good trout. We're looking for those slicks, those fish slicking, and then we're getting behind them and wading through them. And in East Matagorda Bay, we've caught off some good trout this time of year. Live shrimp's been a commodity lately. When we get southwest winds this time of year, it's tougher to find live shrimp at the bait camps. We've been throwing Bass Assassins and Mirror Little Johns. Light winds are forecasted this week, which may give us a chance in the surf. We can get on the beach, man. We drop everything we do. We toss the top water. We toss mirror lures in the first gut. That lower part of the Middle Coast region around Port Aransas and Port O'Connor have already had some pretty good days in the surf here lately. Rockport and Port Aransas continues to work those sand and grass undulation areas. That's not to say you can't catch them on, in the deeper water, but a lot of those waders have been throwing the Berkeley Jaywalker and mirror lure corkies here lately and catching very, very good trout on the incoming tide. Redfish, there's a lot of bull redfish caught at the Port O'Connor jetty on finger mullet, table shrimp, and crabs. They're drifting about 35 foot of water. That same holds true in Freeport at the Surfside jetty. Matagorda tides dropped a bit this week with southwesterly flow, but it's pushing redfish off the shorelines. Tides will gradually drop as we inch closer to July, and what that does is it sends our fish into about 3 to 5 foot of water, and you just try to find a slick, you try to drift through it, and try to find all those circling schools of redfish during the day. In Freeport, the beachfront and jetty is holding redfish on shrimp, according to Mike Siegel. Be prepared to catch sharks as well. There's a lot of sharks out there. A lot of those back lake areas that we were fishing early in June and May that had a lot of water, a lot of those fish have pulled out because basically there's only 6 or 7 inches of water in there. So we've been pulling off and working the intercoastal waterways. There's a photo there. There's a photo of my wife with a redfish. You know, like I said, the girls seem to always catch the good ones, and they sure look good when they smile with a pretty fish. We'll go offshore. Kingfish are beginning to show while trolling. Most of the anglers have been targeting red snapper. It's been a longer run this June since most captains said snapper are still hanging around 20 to 25 miles out. Guide Mike Quebeca, he's found daytime swords this week, about 80 miles out over the hilltops. And those kingfish and cobia are starting to show as well. And there's a few triple tails showing under weed lines, but there's not a whole lot of grass out in the Gulf right now. So, you know, if you can find any kind of structure, you can find some triple tail. But that's all for the Garmin Middle Coast region. We're looking forward to a forecast of lighter winds this week, hoping to get in the surf. But if we don't, we'll be drifting those deep reefs and deep shell in East Matagorda Bay all the way down to Port Aransas.
All right, thank you so much, Bink. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the mirror lure hotspots from the Middle Coast region. Bink says that trout are best while drifting with bass assassins over the deep shell in East Matagorda Bay. The redfish are good at Port O'Connor Jetty on fresh shrimp and on mullet, Brie.
All right, we're seeing what the women are up to in the lower fresh region when we return. You never know. And Dave is taking over at the workbench with special guest Captain Randy Tao for rigs and techniques.
That's right. Randy's going to tell us everything he knows about all kinds of rods in 4 minutes.
Everything?
Everything he knows.
Wait.
4 minutes.
Can't wait. We'll be back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick. Feel everything. Bahio Sunglasses, blue light blocking, radically clear lenses. Garmin, plot your paradise. Fibertex, leaders in fiberglass fabrication and repair. Sportsman's Adventures, fishing for adventure. Berkeley, your fish, our science. And Skeeter Performance Fishing Boats, eat, sleep, fish.
Well, we're here at the workbench, and tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about rods. And, you know, we got Randy Tao from Islamorada Fishing Outfitters here. He's a rod builder as well as a captain, and he knows all there is to know about all these different rod blanks and how they're supposed to bend and how they're labeled, more importantly. So,
because there's a lot of inconsistency.
Yeah, just like line, you know.
One company says one thing, and then you get another one that's supposed to be the same thing, and it's not even close.
So let's see how
we're gonna shorten it up real quick and just go over 4 different actions that are pretty easy to understand. The first one is a slow action, and what that is, when you bend the rod, it's gonna bend all the way down to the grip. So it's more of a parabolic bend to the rod. A softer rod.
What would you use that kind of rod for? You
would probably fish 8 to 10 pound line, maybe light tackle, bass fishing, something like that. Smaller fish. It's not something that's got reserve power.
Right.
This is great.
You're not lifting big fish.
Shallow water. Throw a jig a long way. You can feel the jig load up.
Next one is a moderate action. So you're going to see when this one bends. It bends a little bit further down, so not into the grip. It's bending more up in the top half of the rod. So now you're starting to get some reserve power in the bottom of the rod.
10 to 17 pound braided recommendation on the line.
Yeah.
Like redfish and trout.
Right. So you're going to see the recommended pound test. That's what the manufacturer is going to say, based on this action, with this amount of power, don't overline it. This would fish the best on it.
I got you.
So then we got this Fenwick HMG. This is a fast action.
Now this is going to be more fast, and what that's doing is bending more in this top part of the rod, and it's giving you more reserve power. So that's, you're going to be able to apply a lot more pressure on your fish with 12-pound line or 15-pound line, whatever it is. You could pull a lot harder with this rod than you can the moderate rod because it bends all the way into the grip. You have reserve power.
Correct. Yeah, there's no way you could pull the same amount as you could with this red rod.
Right.
Now, this is the Veritas Abu Garcia
extra fast.
fast.
So this one is going to bend more in the top part of the rod, whereas 2/3 of it stays pretty stiff. So you have a lot of reserve power to pull on your fish.
You can pull big bass out of lily pads and stuff like that.
This is going to be more in salt water if you're snook fishing.
25 to
fishing.
40
right.
is a line rating.
Right.
All right, so now we got a couple new rods that are from Fenwick Brandy that they're going to be introducing at ICAST.
These are the blanks.
The blanks.
Right.
These are just the blanks.
This is where it all starts. So all of these rods, in order to make them, you got to start with a blank. And a lot of times, depending on what you're trying to build, a saltwater rod, freshwater rod, the blank is the most important thing to get started with. This rod, notice how the tip is bending. This is an extra fast glass blank. This is not graphite. So this is all glass. It's going to be the workhorse. You can beat it up. You can hit it against things. It's going to take a lot of abuse, unlike graphite that's going to be more brittle.
Great for offshore jigging,
everything.
Fishing for the red snappers. And now you have a hybrid blank.
Now this blank is a blend of fiberglass in the tip and graphite in the bottom to take the weight out of it.
I got you.
So now this one, you can see the bend in it as well. It's a fast blank. This one's a little bit faster, extra fast, but it's still a fast blank, a lot of reserve power. So this blank you would build if you're going to fish 20-pound line, let's say. This would really give you the ability to pull on a fish 5-6 pounds of drag if you need to, maybe 10 pounds of drag, because you have so much more of the rod that is power to pull on them. You're not maxing out your power by bending at the grip.
And as you can see, Dave, as we really pull, we're not getting this up here. We're really bending into here.
Yeah.
Versus, let's go back to the extra fast like Randy was talking. Watch the difference. This is the one that has E-glass. So you can see you're getting more of a bend, but a lot, I mean, I'm telling you, I am pulling.
You can pull hard on that thing.
Now, this would be for stand-up fishing, marlin fishing, something where you might put 30, 40, 50 pounds of drag on.
Right.
You want something with some backbone and power that doesn't max out all the way to the grip.
I got you. Well, that's awesome, man.
I
really appreciate it.
We bring in our rod specialist. He's been building rods, custom building rods for me for 30 years.
There you go.
And I've educated you so well.
What website can we go to find out more about your custom rods, Randy?
IslamoradaFishingOutfitters.com or CaptainRandyTao.com, either one. I've got them on display. I build a line of rods that I have in stock as well. So,
all right.
Thank you very much, brother.
Great to be here.
So good to have you, Randy. That was Rod 101. It all starts with a rod, and no one ever talks about it, so thanks. All right, the lower fresh region is always reeling and dealing, so let's see what the ladies are catching this week on Bass Strip, Marble Falls, Travis, Fayette County, Somerville, and Choke Canyon with Matt Reed. Go for it, Matt.
All right, let's start this off talking about women and fishing. Don't ever let anybody tell you that it's just for the boys, ladies. I've got a ton of female clients. Some come with their husband or boyfriend, others come on their own. You know, and I can structure a trip to any person's experience level. If we need to white bass fish, crappie fish, whatever, bass fishing is the most difficult, which a lot of my clients, you know, ladies love to bass fish. And it's funny, a lot of times they'll catch bigger ones than their husbands because they'll actually listen to me most of the time. But don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't go fishing with a guide by yourself. Come on by yourself, ladies. We'll have a great time. If you've got the urge, just come on and do it. We'll go catch them. I've got 3 pictures here of some ladies that have you know, fished with me in the past. That first one is Shane and Dana Paget. Obviously, she's got the biggest one in that picture. Next is a catfish. You know, that's just a different style of trip just to get you bit. And that other one is the lady that puts up with me pretty well. She's smiling real big there with a bass in her hand. That first picture has a unique story to it. Only time it's ever happened in my boat, he actually proposed to her in the boat.
Aww.
So romantic.
All right, you better start talking about some bass, bud.
All right, let's talk about the bass. Lake Bastrop, fishing really well, lots of schooling fish. When you get there early, start in the discharge area, the schooling there, and also out on the main lake, down toward each end of the dam. Use small top water, swim baits, or crankbaits in clear or shad colors to catch those fish. You can also use a tiny swim bait on a little ball head jig is a great presentation. Lake Marble Falls is fishing pretty well. Hit the lower end early with top water, shallow crankbaits and frogs close to docks and bulkheads. You can also throw flukes and Texas rig craws around any type of vegetation such as lily pads, reeds, or any hydrilla that you can find. Later in the day, you want to work the deeper ledges with a Carolina rig or a big shaky head. Also, you want to skip the docks with jigs or Texas rigs, get it way back under the shade to get those bites. Lake Travis, the fish are schooling early around the marinas and in the deep coves on the main lake. There's also some fish being caught around the cliffs. So Travis has lots of bluffs, so throw your top waters or your shaky head on the bluffs, let it fall. Later, you want to move out on the deep points with a football jig or a drop shot. Those fish can be anywhere from 20 to 30 foot out there on those deep drops. Fayette County, they're fishing really well. Green pumpkin or watermelon colored soft plastics in the discharge, and that 15 to 22 feet is the best bite going right now. Also, there's some fish in the flooded timber in that 4 to 8 range if you prefer to fish shallow. When you get there at daylight, there is a top water bite on the windy shores with the walking style or poppers. Just cover a lot of water. Mike Bates in report from Choke Canyon. Water temperatures in the low 80s. A really good top water bite on a buzz bait and a frog in the grass real early in the morning. It can last all the way to 10 o'clock if you got clouds. The hydrilla is topped out now in several areas. Punching a soft plastic creature bait with a 1 ounce weight directly through the mat is a great way to catch you some big ones. That bite lasts all day because they get under there and hide in the shade. Also, there's still a good offshore bite in that 15 to 20 foot range. Carolina rigs and deep crankbaits have been best for those. Mike's been catching some fish up to 9 pounds. Lots of good numbers also. Got a picture of Mike there with a fish he caught here recently. Choke Canyon keeps kicking out those big old fish.
All right, bud. Thank you so much. We appreciate it very much, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the FiberTech hotspots from the Lower Fresh region. He says Fayette County bass are doing well on green pumpkin and watermelon colored plastics in the discharge in 15 to 22 feet flipping flooded timber and 4 to 8 feet of water. Also, top water action is good right now on the windblown banks using walk the dog style of top waters and poppers breed.
All right, we're seeing what the lady anglers are reeling in the StarTron Middle Fresh and Lower Coast regions when we come back. Plus, we're saying hi to our friend from Sirius XM, so stay hooked and we'll be right back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Island Lures, Tournament Tackle. Rodan, set it, forget it, catch more fish. Sirius XM Marine, weather, fish mapping, entertainment. Shallow Sport, Berkeley, your fish, our science. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And Penn, let the battle begin.
Joining me now is Jeff Leach from SiriusXM Marine. You know, Jeff, we've got a lot of great products now by SiriusXM Marine. What are you here to tell everybody in Texas?
Yeah, so especially for those who are offshore, not necessarily have to be offshore, So we have satellite-based weather and fishing information. So let's go through a couple features real briefly. Talk about those.
So let's look at the first, we got some slides here. So this is the first one, is the coast of Texas. And obviously this is our radar, the way we would see it on our chart plotter, right?
Yep, yeah, so we're looking at weather radar mixed with lightning in this particular screen. By the way, this is on a GARMIN chart plotter. But that little pink area, if you can see in the upper right-hand corner, that's a marine warning. So that actually broadcasts when there's any warning in the area that happens kind of real time.
All right, let's look at the next slide. And the blue lines are what, Jeff?
So these are marine zones. Most of you are familiar with listening to your VHF and hearing those marine zone reports. This is a much simpler way to do it without listening to that garbled, repetitive voice. You click on a zone, and this entire report comes up, which we'll show you in the next slide. So this could be up to 6 pages, and this is what's happening now, but what's also happening in days to come with that particular zone that you're in.
So that's really handy to have, because you have the ability to read exactly what you would be listening to, but you don't have to wait for it to go to that full loop. Right. Now our last slide, Jeff, is Sirius XM fish mapping. So let's tell everybody about that in Texas.
Right. And this really is specific to offshore anglers. So what we're looking at in this particular screen, this is called fish mapping. We have 8 dedicated fishing specific features for offshore anglers. We're looking at plankton here, plankton fronts in particular. We're also looking at sea surface temperature fronts. So we'll show you where those hotspots are via the front lines. Also show you weed lines that are further than 20 miles offshore.
That's right. So if we got any questions about it, guys want to see more about it, where do they go?
Yeah, so if you have questions, if you need technical support, first and foremost, go to SiriusXM.com/marine. That's our general website. If you have fish mapping specific, you want more details on fish mapping, go to SiriusXM.com/fish mapping.
And then if guys are already, let's look at the next slide, if guys are already a member of SiriusXM, so what they can do, they can send you some email.
Yeah, if you're a current subscriber, send us, we want to hear your stories, and or we can help you, if you need technical support. But marine.support@SiriusXM.com, that is our email. And we'll even send you some swags. We'll give you some stuff. If actually you share your story and let us know what you like about SiriusXM or how you use it or a success story, go to that email.
So I know Brindley came with you. You guys are here to get her certified. She was able to, your daughter was able to go fish with Ridge earlier in the week. We have this great picture of her with Ridge and a nice triple tail. And you know what? We want to wish her happy birthday, don't we?
We do. Yeah.
All right, Brie, you got Brindley over there. We're talking about the swag, and here she is modeling.
Brindley. Happy birthday, Brindley. This is some of the swag that you'll be getting if you send them and tell them what you like about Sirius XM Marine. And happy birthday, girl.
Thank you.
Glad to have you on the show with us. All right, women helping women is a saying that I love. And in the STARTRON Middle Fresh region, it seems to be lady anglers helping anglers, which is even better. Help us get us out there, Matt.
All right, Brie, we'll get right to it. There's just so many opportunities in the state of Texas for lady anglers. All over the state, there's awesome lakes to fish, and a lot of women already out there doing it, as you mentioned. And one of those groups that is just great at helping the ladies get started is the LBAA. That's the Lady Bass Anglers Association. These ladies have a great tournament circuit with a boater co-angler format. So it's perfect whether you're just starting out or even if you're a seasoned pro. Their organization is steadily growing, and they would love to have you. They are always encouraging newcomers. You can find all of their info at ladybassanglers.com. And one lady angler who is a standout in that organization is Miss Stephanie Pellerin. She lives right here in the Middle Fresh region. She won their Rookie of the Year title last season, so she's crushing it, and she fishes a lot of other tournaments as well. If you'd like to keep up with one of the best lady anglers from right here in our region, go follow her on Facebook. That's Stephanie Pellerin, Pellerin. Go check her out, and she'll keep you informed on what the ladies are doing. Now, if you're a young lady that's interested in bass fishing, we also have a great opportunity for you here at Toledo Bend. At Living the Dream Guide Service, we host an annual bass fishing summer camp. It's a week-long camp for junior high and high school-aged anglers. And this year we're having it July 25th through the 29th. We had our first young lady join us at the camp last season. We were so excited to have her, and she had a great time, caught a lot of fish. We can't wait to see more young ladies joining us in the future, and y'all can find all the info for that one at our website, ltd.fish. So we'd love to see you ladies all getting out there. It's a lot of fun. Get out on those bass. Now, for what the bass are doing here in the Middle Fresh region right now, I'm going to start with a report from Richland Chambers. Mr. Thurman Selman got me an update up there this week. So good to have him reporting again. He says the lake is about 3.5 feet low right now, and the water's fairly clear. The temperatures are hanging around that 80-degree range, and the bass there are in their summertime holding areas in about 10 to 20 foot of water. They're holding on large rock piles and tire reefs, and they can be caught on Carolina rig with an 11-inch Bass Assassin worm, or a deep diving crankbait, or even a Ned rig if you're needing something finesse. He says that the docks that have the deeper water on them are also holding some fish if they have some cover around them to kind of keep them nearby. Now here at Toledo Bend, the bass bite has slowed down a little bit during the midday hours. You know, it's kind of gotten pretty warm. Our water temperature's up in the mid-80s now, but that morning and evening bite is still pretty good. Look to long tapering points, the edges of the flats, and isolated high spots in about 10 to 20 foot. Carolina rigs, Texas rigs, and jigs are best right now, fishing slowly around the wood cover in those areas. You may also see some schooling activity if you got a calm day, so keep an eye out for that around those same spots and have a topwater ready to go if they come up. Now on Sam Rayburn, still some remnants of a shallow bite early in the morning over there. I'm hearing that they will still eat a frog up around the shallow cover, but the main bite is out a little deeper now in 10 to 20 foot. Carolina rigs are a staple for this pattern on Rayburn, but Texas rigs, jigs, and crankbaits will all catch them too. Now switching over to some white bass and hybrids, they've really shown up this week here at Toledo Bend. They've been schooling out on the main lake flats in about 15 to 25 foot of water. Topwater plugs and jigging spoons have been great for catching those. Then bouncing back up to Richland Chambers, Mr. Thurman also mentioned that folks are catching hybrids up there using live gizzard shad around the waterfall. And lastly, finishing up, I'm going to be short and sweet with a crappie report. It's still excellent all over the Middle Fresh region, about 15 to 30 foot around the shady cover using jigs and minnows. And I'm going to leave you guys with a photo of Noella, nice young lady with some big old crappie.
All right, bud, thank you so much. We're gonna go and take a look at the Rodan Marine System hotspots from the Middle Fresh region. The bass are best in the morning and in the evening in 10 to 20 feet of water. The white bass are schooling in 15 to 25, and the crappie are in 15 to 30 feet hanging in the shade.
Well, Rick, as we know, our Captain Chad Kinney really has his hands full in the Lower Coast region with his daughters and his wife, who is one heck of a lady angler herself.
Yes, she is.
Chad, we're just taking over.
You got that right. And it's Father's Day weekend coming up, so I'll probably be taking them fishing somehow, some way.
There you go.
So we're going to be moving to lady angler when we talk about this. I'll tell you what, I've been doing this for years, but fishing's really become a family event, and lady anglers are really up on the rise as far as numbers of people out there. I've got 3 daughters, like I said, and a wife, and they all love that stuff. So bay tournaments, so like Babes on the Bay from Port A to offshore tournaments like the Ladies Kingfish Tournament out of South Padre and Texas Women Anglers Tournament out of Port A. They keep on increasing every year in participation, and it just gets really, really good. But I'm just giving you some heads up for like the ladies or women out there that are maybe just starting out and thinking about going fishing in the saltwater and Lower Coast. Pick some good weather, would be my recommendation, before you go out and pick your bay fishing. Maybe get to your offshore, and then after that, get a group together and maybe book like a reputable guide that can help you out there in any part of the Lower Coast if you're looking at that. They can maybe ask them what you like to target, get info to them, they'll bounce it back to you, and they can help you become a better angler along the way there. And then coming from, like I said, a father with 3 daughters and a wife that can outfish most people out get on the boat, it's really enjoyable to get the outdoors there in South Texas and enjoy everything. So I got a throwback picture here. This is Erica with the yellowfin tuna, weighed 187 pounds on a Penn 16 wide international there she caught.
Go, Erica!
She's such a badass, Bub.
Yeah, that was
man.
on stand-up, and that was a good deal from Penn. That's just a testament of what they make there.
All right, let's run it. Let's go inshore. Go ahead, Bub.
It's been really on fire here in the Lower Coast. I was surprised how the fish bounced back after that freeze there. They're still holding that 3 to 5 foot of water. They're also along the ICW and drop-offs. Long bar, we've been talking on South Padre there, and they're still liking holding in those guts, especially with the little tidal movement. We got a lot more tidal movement now than since the jetty's been open there in Mansfield as far as the dredging went. So it's really helping with our bait system. A lot of those fish came in from there, I believe. Live croaker's really been on fire this, very few undersized fish mainly. All these fish are holding that 18 to 22 inch range. They're really good. The early morning bite's been a lot better, especially on if you're throwing some lures. The topwater bite's been really good early. We've got some good weather coming up this weekend, so that'd be the way to go. Bone-colored mirror lure. Top Dog Junior is the way I'd start out if you're using a topwater there. If you're going to soft plastics, Saltwater Assassin Sea Shad, the Magic Grass. Always talking about that one. I really love that color there. They've been whacking around the grass beds with that. And if you're looking for the King Ranch shoreline with these calmer winds coming up, it's going to be really good. Start there in the morning when the winds pick up a little bit like that, then head out to the ICW for some calmer stuff. Offshore fishing, it's really, really getting on out there. We've got some great fish starting to show up, and some good-looking waters also showing up, that's the reason they're there. They're following them in. I believe it's from that Mexico water coming on in. So state and federal water snapper are still both open, which you both been producing really good and some good numbers. Look for some suspended fish on your GARMIN sounder. If you're in like 100 or 150 foot of water, you'll look down your GARMIN and the sounder there. A lot of them will be in that 50 to 60 foot range down there. So if I see that, I switch right over to a jig real quick, Eagle Claw Trocard jig, like 3 ounce, and put a little fish bite on it. Let it fall through the water column. If that line stops, it means you already got a bite there probably. The snapper can be holding right there. So basically, if you're in that depth, kind of do like a 12-second count, stop the line, and then drop it and dig just a bit, and it's going to be really fast and furious with those suspended fish. The best thing also, on the plus side, when these fish are suspended, they don't get the bends on the way up, and they fight a heck of a lot harder, and you're going to just have a lot more fun on the angling on that stuff. And the most exciting stuff I've seen, we were just out just real quick a few days ago at the pelagics out deep. They're there at the 100 fathom curve. We went out looking for actually just a color change. We found one starting at 665 foot, and we followed it about 10 miles just inside of Colt. It's about 1,300 foot. There's some grass on the color change, which is great. It went from green blue to blue, true blue. And the good thing was before I left the dock, I used my fish mapping system with Sirius with GARMIN, and it had a hot spot there on that target. So that's where I ended up going, and I didn't stop until I found that color change, which was great. It really helps on those trolling days if you're going out there deep. The lures weren't in like 5 minutes. We had a 300-pound blue on a pin 50 wide. It hit the rigger with an islander rig at the ballyhoo. Been talking about that bait for a long time. We always put them out there, and they just crush it right away. It's great. See them coming through there. And when that rips out there like that and you see some bait, make sure it has bait and just wait for the shot. Don't leave it. And then the second blue we had 2 in one day. Actually hit a smaller islander we had looking for some wahoo or dorado on the flat line. We had a 10-16 wide. We just spooled it with 30-pound Mamoy mono, and that fish came up and just crushed that. We released them both in good shape, and that's a true deal. You catch a 30-pound, you get 300-pound blue and a 30-pound Mamoy mono. That thing's tough. Got a picture here of a blue marlin there. We released 2 that day, and they're both like identical. They're pushing that 300-pound mark.
Nice, Chad. Keep up the good work. I hope I get to go offshore with you one day. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the shallow sport boats. Hot spots from the lower coast region. Our Captain Chad says the trout bite continues to be on fire from Port Mansfield down to South Padre Island. The fish are still holding in grass and 3 to 5 feet deep and along the intercoastal waterway. And then offshore, the fishing has been awesome with the blue water coming in close. A few good weed lines are starting to form from the 50 fathom on out to the 100 fathom curve, Bree.
Sorry, I got excited about Erica's yellowfin. All right, the Fish Bites Upper Coast region is showing off their lady angler catches next, and Dave is showing off some new products at the workbench. Dave, what you got?
Oh, I got some really cool little buggers right here, man. These things are jubilating, aren't they? And that's Rick's word, but they are.
You made his day.
I did.
We'll be back.
Power bait jubilate.
Jubilation.
Jubilating from the power baiting.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Tin Cup Mountain Whiskey. Turn on the bite anytime. Tie on a Mirror. Abu Garcia, Fish to Win. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. Fenwick, feel everything. Diamond Fishing Products, our reputation is on the line. R&R Tackle, from our tackle box to yours. And STARTRON, start, run, and store with STARTRON.
All right, guys, Scott Martin here with your Power Pole tip of the week. You know, I travel all over the country fishing the Bassmaster Elite Tour. I'm going to show you a couple tips on some preventative maintenance that'll help you keep your power poles in good working order. All right, guys, so what you're going to do is just remove the shroud, and you can see the nuts and the bolts right here. So you've got the nuts on this side. You're going to want to tighten these up pretty darn tight. This is what keeps the pole from swaying around a lot. Tighten these up really nice and snug. The 5 nuts here and these bolts, you're gonna wanna tighten those up again, snug and even. That's the most important thing. Just check these periodically as you travel up and down the road. Check them when you get to your locations. The other thing, the bolts that are connected to your bracket, to your jack plate, make sure you check those on a regular basis as well. Over time, things do get loose. So guys, that's my tip, 1 minute tip, power pole tip of the week. We'll see you. So Dave, we're here at the workbench. We're going to talk about some new products. What do we got going on here? I see we got some AFCO stuff.
Yep, right away, those are the AFCO's women's lady fish shorts. We're going to start with the shorts first. They're really nice shorts. They got 100% nylon, 2 large front pockets, and a nice zippered back pocket. Really, you know, elastic waistline. You know, I don't know. I didn't know that the ladies like the elastic as much as the boys do, because I need elastic. 3-inch inseam. UPF 50, you know, they're they got a water resistant coating as well. Right. So, and a nice little drawstring to tighten them up on you. So,
and they also have belt loops.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, you know, if you want some, put it on a little belt.
All right. Now what do we got?
Next there, we got the Samurai long sleeve sun protection shirt. It's made to be out in the water and keep the sun off you. It's 92% polyester and 8% elastine. It's great on the water. Like I said before, it's got really nice little thumb holes in here so you can cover up your hands, which is very important, as you can see.
Otherwise, they look like
exactly. Quick dry, moisture resistant, and also they have a stain release as well. And they're antimicrobial and, you know, keep the sun right off you. AFCO.com to go find those.
So Brie, Dave, this is from Taco Marine.
Just really insulted Brie with that one.
Yes.
Taco is the low-profile adjustable seat slide. It's 13 by 10. It's got a detachable mount as well. It's got a frictionless operation. It slides really easily. It's adaptable to all kinds of seats. It's got high-strength polymer guides inside and a durable locking action. So once it locks into place, you know, the waves aren't going to, you know, knock you out. It's got that front-mounted actuation lever so you can reach in there and go through all 7 positions while you're still seated on it. You know, it's really nice. Really nice machine there.
Taco Marine?
Taco Marine. Taco Marine. And it fits 23-inch up to 28-inch wide seats. So there you go.
So Dave, now you have the Berkley Power Bait Gilly.
Yeah, this is the saltwater gilly baits. These are, you know, they won the ICAST Best of Show last year. They're designed by Mike Iaconelli. They got a little, you know, Japanese influence as well, and that kind of technique. It's a great natural presentation. It's a great shape and an action. They're really, really limber.
Yeah, they wiggle.
Yeah, and you got all these little doodads on here. These little.
So this is being rigged with a stand-up head.
Yeah,
Dave,
you can rig it with a jig. You can rig it with just a plain extra wide gap hook. You can rig it with a weighted hook. Just about a Texas rig, a Carolina rig, however you want to do it. And a lot of guys are doing them sideways through there. And
yeah, Ike likes it like this at times, so that when he's reeling this, he can actually make it weedless and throw it up in those lily pads.
Right. And it's got a hollow head, so it all crushes down really easily. And, you know, you can rig it just a lot of different ways. Plus, it's full of the Power Bait scent. So, you know, comes with a lot of standard colors there as well. The HD as well as the regular standard colors.
So what else does it come as far as, how many different colors did you say, Dave? I'm sorry, we got a pinfish.
I think there's just the ones here.
A croaker, a pilchard, and so on. So, so Brie, the reason I messed up Dave, Brie, you would wear this with your bikini top underneath, right?
Sure, yep.
And then because of those hand holes, you're going to wear this when you're not trying to get sun to cover up. You like the hand holes, yeah, of course?
I love the hand holes.
And what do you think about the belt loops on the ladies' pants? Is that important?
The belt loops?
Yeah.
Not for me personally, but it might be for some other. We all have different body shapes and sizes, so.
All right.
I got hips. I I don't need belts.
Not with those hips.
I got no hips. I need a belt.
All right, let's move these hips. The Fish Bites Upper Coast Region lady anglers catch just about everything, especially with Captain Carl Weston, who also has some strong lady anglers in his life. Talk story to us, Carl.
Hey, folks, how we doing? I guess I'd like to start today by saying thank you to all the ladies in my life that make fishing fun. The love of fishing was shown to me as a child with my mom and dad. My mom, Barbara, loved to fish. It was kind of our thing, our bag, and Mom was a blast to fish with. She'd make me laugh all day. Natasha is my fishing partner, my wife, photographer, my deckhand, and never misses a trip or a tournament. My sister Jenny, who's been out fishing me since we were little kids, and she's very competitive like most lady anglers. Getting down to the cutest fishermen in our family, the Littles, Braylon, Carter, and Braven. These little girls love to fish, love to be on the boat. As long as they don't have to touch the fish, they're good. But they are carrying on the Weston tradition, and they are great. So moving on to inshore, did a little bit of, summer's here. It's really hot. I don't know if you've been down here lately, Rick, but man, it's been 100 degrees. It's scorching. This week on the water, the best tip I may give you is to try to get your fish and find some shade by noon. And if it's hard to find, like Dave was talking about, Taco Marine also makes a great product called Shade Fin. This is something you stick in a rod holder, it pops open, gives you a nice bunch of shade in the boat. And believe me, with the temps hitting 100, you might need this quickly. So over at Sabine Lake, the temperature is about 80 degrees this week. The reds, trout, and flounder are all on the move. Slot reds and nice black drum are definitely around the shorelines and the grassy points this week. Bolivar's warmed up to 82 degrees, and the jetty has been producing nice sheepshead trout. They're using live shrimp on a popping cork or small live croaker. Bumping over a little farther in Trinity, the water's 85. It's warmed up even more. Specks are thick in that area. The water's still a little stained, but it's clearing up on those days when the wind is not as strong. Moving down over in West Galveston Bay, the guys are drifting to oyster reefs, and reports are showing some really nice sized reds. These reds are being caught on top water. Hard plastics such as mirror lure and some soft, like FISHBITES Fight Club shrimp on about a 1/4 ounce jig head. And today we have a picture of a lady angler with a really nice black drum.
Nice. What else you got?
Offshore, headed offshore this week. Let's talk about Spanish mackerel. Here's a fish that's really fun to catch on light tackle in the upper coast. And you'll find them here in large schools. They're usually chasing bait along the beachfront and even out further over structure. We ran into a few schools of them in the 45 to 50 foot range out in Galveston this week. They love to hit little gold spoons and smaller topwater plugs. I always keep 2 pan lightweight combos set up with small casting lures at all times when I know Spanish are in. When you spot a school of Spanish breaking on the top water, try to get close very slowly and as quiet as possible. Don't run into the fish and scatter them. Use the edges and cast towards the school. This will keep the fish up, and it's a lot simpler to follow them and hook them. And we have a picture of Natasha today with a Spanish mackerel.
Nice.
Cute.
A little one. So, hey, going snapper. It's full swing snapper season here in the Upper Coast. We're going into our 3rd week. The fish are big. They're in big schools over structure, and anything from 100 foot out. And as far as targeting the snapper this week, we've had good luck with the bigger ones on live bait, fishing in 130 to up to 300 foot range. And these fish, as you go deeper and the baits get bigger, are bigger fish. So using cut or whole squid is always a great choice, along with dead or live shad, cigar minnows. I also like tipping the hook with a piece of FISHBITES like we've talked about. Not only the scent is there for the fish, but it stays on unlike any other bait. The ladies might differ, but the flavor and the colors from us. But as far as I haven't found anything color-wise or scent-wise that has not worked very well. Now, the last trip, we had chummed up a bunch of snappers to the surface using, just chumming and then using R&R bucktail jig on light tackle, and really gave people some workout and made some great memories out there, Rick. And today we have Miss Mary Lou with a really nice red snapper.
Go, man.
All right, Carl,
That's
thank you so
That's a
much,
big one
man.
there,
That
though.
is a big one. Good job. We're gonna go and take a look at the R&R tackle hotspots from the Upper Coast region. Carl says that inshore, the fish the grassy shorelines and the jetties of Bolivar using live shrimp on popping corks, small live croakers, or Fish Bites Easy shrimp and orange, targeting a mixed bag. And then offshore, targeting snapper while dropping on the bottom structure in 100 to 300 foot range with squid or cut baits tipped with a nice pieces of fish bite chunks, of course.
Well, gentlemen, that was super fun talking about all the ladies. I still can't believe that you thought this was Brie, but that's fine. I'm fine with it.
Boy.
You saved it with the piece of clothing and the hand holes. Good job, Rick.
No,
but
I was thinking, what would you think? And I called him Brie.
Yeah,
My bad. I'm sorry.
So we're talking about the ladies, but this weekend, gentlemen, is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to y'all, and happy Father's Day to all the daddies out there. I hope you're out on the water catching something big. And my baby's daddy.
I think I'm smelling
see y'all
some
next
coffee on
week.
Sunday morning.
I get to eat some
coffee.
brunch.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye.